Hey there, my name is Lilly and in this video I'm going to show you how I paint this still life in oils. It's going to be on this panel and you can see what it looks like now using the magic of editing. The first thing I did was set up my composition. So you can see me thinking about how I want to place the objects. Sometimes you just have to kind of play around. This is a cool fossil from my friend's shop. These are the colours that I'm going to use: titanium white, cadmium yellow, light ochre, cadmium red mix, alizarin permanent, Mars black, and cobalt blue. I think these three colours are what's in the vase, and also in the bunny. That said, I think it might have some white or green in the parts that are oxidized. So I think the celosia are alizarin permanent and cadmium red, and maybe some kind of green or yellow for the leaf. The panel is prepped with GAC 100. This is what I use to clean my brushes. It can really rescue brushes that have old stuff caked on. My little spectators. I filmed this last winter, I think, and the oil had gone kind of cold, so what I'm doing here is trying to warm it up. Time to sketch my composition. I'm using Willow charcoal for this. If you've watched some of my other videos, you know this is what I like using. It just comes off quite easily if you make a mistake and it doesn't transfer through the paint layers. I hold up my palette knife with paint to the object to colour match. I've seen some people like to use bits of grey cardboard with a square cut out to get colours right. There's lots of different ways you can do this, but I like keeping it simple. So it's been a little bit, and as you can see I've mixed up my palette. I've got all the main colours. Any ones that are missing I'll mix up from the colours I already have to help with colour harmony. And it's time to paint. So my computer kind of blew up last year and I lost a lot of footage, so I don't have all of the footage I took for this painting, but it's one of the lucky ones I was able to save. Here I'm just filling in the background, and you can see me turning the brush to get fresh paint onto the panel. What I'm doing here is removing some of the charcoal with a kneadable eraser, and I really like these, not just for working on panels to remove the charcoal, but I like them when you're doing works on paper because they don't tear the paper as much as some other erasers do, like a harder eraser. One thing you can notice me doing constantly is that I always turn my brush, and the main reason for this is to use fresh paint so that you don't muddy the paint while you're working. And you can see that I'm always dipping in to get more fresh paint. I don't mind a little bit of mixing because I think it just adds to the color harmony, but I do like keeping that paint quite fresh. The celosia was really interesting to paint because it's so intricate and there's lots going on. As you can see, I'm working really delicately here, trying not to smudge the colours into each other. So painting detail into wet in oils is interesting. You have to be super careful to keep the colors separated, and I don't have any way to describe it other than like you're trying to put color down and not take it off. So you have to really load up your brush and then very gently put your strokes down. It definitely takes some getting used to, and it was a strange transition for me from acrylic to oils, but I really love using it now. It can be beneficial to have some of your colors mix and smudge a bit. Like where I'm painting this postcard, it's actually really beneficial because it makes the flowers look like they're emerging out of the darker background. I think the paintbrush I'm using here is a filbert maybe, and they're kind of interesting to use because it doesn't have a sharp edge, and you can see me struggle a little bit on those corners, but you can get there eventually. This is another wet, and you can see that I'm very carefully trying to sketch this in before applying a bit more pressure and a bit more paint. And here's how it turned out in the end. I was really happy with how the celosia turned out because I used such vibrant and undiluted colors. It really feels like they kind of pop in real life, and that's what I was going for because the celosia is a really bright flower and I really wanted that to come through in the painting. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it inspires you to go create something beautiful for yourself. I'll see you next time.